Hey there, thanks for joining me at the School of Tomorrow once again using a code surface called Codesters, which is, by the look of it, meant for younger people, but I would come here to test ideas regardless of age in some cases, mainly maybe because I want to do some teaching exercise such as this one, which, let me show you what it does kind of a raster pattern. I'll call this Navajo blanket. In fact, while this is going, I still have control of the keyboard, which is pretty cool. Navajo blanket, and it's like a raster pattern. Now, this is what I call tractor graphics, as opposed, not opposed to, but it's like a subclass of turtle graphics. These are obviously turtle stamps. I haven't made any attempt to push the tractor metaphor, except that I've named the turtle tractor in the code. Once it gets to the bottom and rasters a full field, like it's a turtle or tractor plowing a field, right? So we're looking down. And you're already thinking, well, that's not what a tractor would do. You wouldn't waste the fuel and come all the way back and start over. This is more like the lexical pattern of reading that you learn in sort of left to right languages, right? Like English and German. The eyeball is trained to go across, and when you get to the end of the line, wrap around, start the next line, and so on. So it's kind of like that pattern, but now that you've seen that, okay, I can do that pattern, I could do other patterns, right? So the idea is you're looking down on a field and you have, I would say, a tractor, just because that's a nice Latin, tractatus, to gain traction, some worker, some energy spender. And some versions of this will have like actual fuel costs as we push this tractor through the field. It's like we have to take that into account depending on the simulation. But this, again, I'll run it again, is just Navajo blanket. Now you might run this with your class completely because you're interested in the colors and the schemes. They can pick other schemes. There are many degrees of freedom here, but if you're just learning about colors, it's a relief to know that even just the names like medium purple and dark goldenrod, light sky blue, dodger blue, cornflower blue, all of these are understood in your Codesters code. And I've started with an orange-red as my background color, and Navajo white, which we've used before for green tortoise airlines in another video, where we have a turtle flying the polar routes. This time the turtle is just stamping a blanket, so maybe this is an advertisement for some airline. You wouldn't know just looking at it necessarily. And then the turtle color changes to sea green as it starts the next row. So I've, plotted out how many vertical rows I want. I have a decrementing R that starts at 10. It starts dropping by 1, and as I drop R, that controls where the turtle starts the next row. So as R continues to go down, down, down into negative territory, it's when R gets to -10 that I say, okay, time to jump back to the top again. And that's when I've done enough, I've pushed it through enough runs of next row. It's going to have run through this enough times now that R is going to hit that condition. And it's going to be time, because we started at, right, R equals 10, and now we're at -10. So we went through 20 rows, basically. The range is from 0 to 20 here. So, in other words, 21 is not included. Anyway, I just went visually, and I saw that the turtle started over where it should. Now, you may be thinking color is not of interest to me, and in fact, some of my students don't see color or don't see or whatever, and it's like, so this, you wouldn't want this, you maybe don't want to use this at all, but you don't necessarily want to make it really be about color either. And this is where I could suggest embedding shapes in this. In other words, take a letter and display it, have the turtles change color just in the right positions to give an image, right? It's kind of like you're trying to do television now. It's what we used to call ASCII art. And it's even okay maybe to start with some ASCII art somehow. Control the turtle with existing ASCII art. I'm just suggesting possible ways to get kind of get fun pictures without putting yourself to too much laboriousness, right? So I'll give that some thought as well. Now, if I want to save this, I just hit the save button, and the current thumbnail then reflects where we were in execution space. So when I share this to the class, they'll get that thumbnail and not some other thumbnail. All right, so just keep in mind you're going to want to think about using color, but maybe not. It's up to you. And turtle graphics is a huge topic that you will encounter elsewhere besides inside of Codesters. So don't worry if School of Tomorrow you seem to think that you have to use Codesters or whatever. I'm just a teacher who has his share of tools in my tool set. And so you'll see quite a few Codesters in my channel, but there's a lot of cool teachers out there, so don't be disillusioned if you didn't like Codesters that much. Or come back to it another time. It's, I think the worthy parts of it are like there's a physics engine to play with. I talk about that in some other YouTubes. You have a whole lot of sprites to play with. And you can get into some geometry. There's logic. It can control other devices. There's sound. So I'm a fan. I just use it when I teach School of Tomorrow stuff sometimes. All right. My name's Kirby Erner, Oregon Curriculum Network, signing out. Talk to you next time.